So there's really only one thing on most people's mind right now. The thing that is still fresh in the mind of the casual wrestling fan is we are just about 4 days removed from WWE Summerslam, which is supposed to be the second biggest premium live event of the year. And if you looked in the casual community Discord, I think that the temperature is pretty accurate to that. This is one of those rare times, I think, where I'm about to speak up, and I might be speaking despite the community, but I've told y'all guys a million times, I'm going to speak my truth when I get on this microphone. So one thing that I've seen going around the internet, and I've seen a question being asked by certain people was, where does SummerSlam rank amongst the other premium live events of the year? Now, to most people, I think they would say it was a fairly good premium live event. The problem is, I did what I always do. And what that is I watched SummerSlam and I had my initial reactions, but I never write down my initial reactions because they always change. So what I did is I woke up the next morning, I took a couple minutes to just kind of digest what I saw on Saturday night and tried to make a little bit of sense of it to figure out where I really stand on what I thought about SummerSlam this year. And, you know, here's the problem. The thing that keeps popping into my mind and the question that keeps popping up is, was SummerSlam the worst premium live event this year? And I know that feels like a major overreaction because I know there are a lot of people who really enjoyed what they saw on Saturday night. But as I said early on, I felt like the card was predictable. I felt like it kind of went the way we thought it was going to go. And when I run down a list of gripes that I have, they just tend to be more prevalent than the gripes I've had in the previous premium live events of this year. So I jotted down a list of things that I kind of wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about, number one, Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor, which is a match that got voted very high in the casual community. And I don't think it was a bad match. I just think based on predictability, based on what we've seen before, this was not the best version of Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor we've ever seen. This wasn't even the most interesting version of that match. There was no cash-in. There was no build-up towards tension between Damian and Seth Rollins. What we got was kind of this mismatched clusterfuck of Damian and Finn beginning to turn on each other, but it wasn't as satisfying as I thought it was going to be. And I asked the question during the premium live event. I asked the Casual Wrestling Discord, I said, why doesn't Finn Balor rock the demon outfit more often? And it's the same answer that I always get from people when I ask this question, and it is that, well, Finn has gone on record saying he doesn't want to overuse the demon character, which I don't understand. And then someone told me it takes Finn a long time to get into character. Once again, I don't understand. Like, when I see Finn Balor in demon makeup and I see Finn Balor, outside of some just, optical differences, I don't see a ton of personality change. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm too casual to recognize. But I think that this match was primed for Demon Finn Balor. This was supposed to be Finn's get back. This was built as being the one that Finn can't win. And so, we all went into this thing expecting Finn to win this match and Damian to either cash in or tease a cash in. But instead, what we walked out of here was, I guess we're supposed to just believe Finn Balor's not the guy who can get it done. And I think that there are elements in that type of storytelling that don't necessarily make for a satisfied result. I didn't leave SummerSlam thinking, I get it. People rate that match high. I just left with a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. So then we move on to no Randy Orton, no Bray Wyatt, no Rock, no Rikishi, no Elders, nothing. The biggest surprise of the night was the return of Omos, and I don't understand who that was for. Maybe I've asked this question before, but is there a group of WWE fans who clamor for Omos? Is there a group of people that when Omos's song went off, they got excited for who came out? I don't believe that group exists. Maybe it does. Maybe it's young children. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see people getting excited. But that was your big surprise. We were rumored that even Kairi Sane was supposed to come back, but that didn't even come to fruition. So no Randy Orton, no Brock Lesnar, no Bray Wyatt, no Rock, and no Rikishi, no Elders, nothing. No surprises. Well, that's a pretty deep step down from what we got last year, which was a night full of surprises. Then we gotta talk about Logan Paul versus Ricochet, another match that it seemed like the internet, IWC and casual included, were generously optimistic about. I thought this was going to be an absolute train wreck. Instead, it was exactly opposite of what I thought it was, and it was the most tame, unexciting match that you could possibly get out of Ricochet. It was completely safe. It was completely, which is, I have no problem with that, except for the fact that the last 3 weeks, Logan Paul kept looking into a camera and telling us this is going to be the most viral match that you've ever seen in WWE. And it didn't live up to that standard. It wasn't even the most viral match of the night. It didn't even have the biggest moments of the night. It was a safe match. It was a decent match, but it wasn't really a SummerSlam worthy match. I don't think that Logan underperformed. I don't think that Ricochet underperformed. I just don't think, I think it goes a little bit to say that Logan Paul by himself is not going to move the numbers. He's not going to move the needle. Logan's got to be in there with Roman. He's got to be in there with Seth. He's got to be in there with guys who can make something happen, who work a certain style, but he's not going to be, he could do one or two big exciting things, but he's not going to give you 10 to 15 minutes of viral moments. It's just, that's the reality. There was no Becky Lynch. There was no Sami Zayn. We got very minimal appearances by Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio. These are your hottest superstars on your roster, and they just weren't featured heavily. I thought that Drew McIntyre, while I don't think he looked bad, I think that him losing to Gunther made him look weak for somebody that you protected for so long to just come in and basically be handled by Gunther, no problem, no interference, nothing. I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't love this idea that we know Gunther's not losing this title until November. I believe it's November 3rd when he sets the record. So you got guys like Chad Gable who's next in line, but what does that mean? He's just next in line to lose. I don't love that either. And then my biggest gripe of all of SummerSlam is the fact that we were sold on these spectacles. We were told that Logan and Ricochet was going to be the most viral match of all time. We were told that Ronda and Shayna was going to be fought under MMA rules. We were told that Cody and Brock didn't need a stipulation. We were told that Roman and Jay was a tribal combat match. And do you know what all of that meant? Absolutely dog shit. It didn't mean anything. The most viral match of all time was just another match. The MMA rules match made absolutely no sense. It was not fought under MMA rules. It was just fought under the worst pacing of all time. The fact that the ref stopped the match to check on Shayna Baszler, I don't know who watches and doesn't watch MMA inside of WWE, but that's not how that happens. Cody versus Brock was sold to us as a match that didn't need a stipulation Then Cody Rhodes picks up a set of stairs, smacks Brock Lesnar in the face, and the referee just doesn't call for disqualification. That's an insult to our intelligence as wrestling fans. You could have made that match no holds barred. You could have made that match no DQ, but instead you chose to take the last 3 weeks and try to just shove it down our throat that this is going to be just a straight up rubber match and it doesn't need bells and whistles. And then you fucking get out there and you throw in a bell and whistle. And then we get to the tribal combat match, which was sold to us as this, this big deal between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, and the elders have spoken. And there's absolutely no sign of any elder, The Rock, Rikishi, nobody was there. Not in the back. There wasn't a video package. We got absolutely nothing. And on top of that, WWE made it a point. They made it a point when building towards this match that the rules of this match were that this was tribal combat and nobody was to interfere in this match. Yet, Solo interferes and Jimmy Uso interferes. Now, I'm not going to get into the fact that, once again, this is just bad storytelling when you have, this Jay turning on the bloodline, Jimmy's with him, Jimmy gets hurt, then Jimmy comes back. They'll figure out a way to make that make sense. It absolutely really doesn't make sense right now. I'm not going to get into that level. What bothers me the most is that you built this match with the idea that nobody could get involved. This was supposed to be Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns, and it just wasn't at the end of the day. And so I look at all these things on this list, and it leads me to go, was SummerSlam a bad premium live event? No. By no means was it a bad premium live event. I enjoyed it. I didn't leave it with a bad taste in my mouth completely. But when I put it up against other premium live events, I don't know where I rank it. To me, it wasn't better than the Royal Rumble this year. I thought the Royal Rumble was a lot of fun. I thought that, we got to see Bray Wyatt. Whether it was, kind of a stupid match, it was still a big moment. Cody won the Rumble. We got Alexa versus Bianca. I just thought that had more kind of oomph to me than SummerSlam. I don't fully remember Elimination Chamber, so I'm not gonna place any value there. But WrestleMania, this wasn't a quarter as good as WrestleMania. I will say that. This wasn't as good as Backlash. I can say that with confidence. And this wasn't as good as Money in the Bank. I can say that with confidence. So I can say with confidence that, to me, SummerSlam, at the end of the year, when we look back, it's going to be in the bottom 20% of premium live events that we had this year. And that's just the way I feel about it. But the one thing that did come out of the premium live event that was a good thing is